there have definitely been moments where I've been like, oh, I might just stop. Like, especially as I've got more senior at work, I found it more and more challenging to do it.
It's a lot, but it's fun, and you kind of just make it work. I think that was my biggest worry before becoming a mother, was like, how am I going to fit in the horses, and how is it going to work? And I was it did stress me out a little bit. So I mean, I've got my first event booked, which is, funnily enough, on the 24th of May. I haven't talked about it.
I think I need to come and stay with you, Lucy, for a while, because I am the absolute queen of overthinking.
Hello, happy Wednesday. How are you doing, Mary?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm really excited it's Friday. I'm also really excited for this week's guest. And I'm just excited to catch up. I've had a very, very hectic week, but I've been really looking forward to this.
Good. Me too. Yeah, I feel like it's like a bit of therapy.
Yeah, we didn't do our preamble today, so it might get a bit chaotic, because normally we get all the shit out of the way before we record.
Whereas today you're going to hear all of our stuff. But I think that's okay, because I think sometimes it's a good thing, because I think sometimes we have a conversation before the podcast and then we think, we probably should have just talked about that, because people would have found that really interesting. But yes, we've got Foot Luce Eventing joining us today, which you'll have seen from the title. And we are going to be talking to her about all things having a baby and coming back to horses, and I want the inside on her horse situation and stuff. So, it's going to be a good one. And I think it's interesting to get together as like horsey women and talk about these kinds of conversations, because I do think, like, for myself, I am, I think about parenting children, and I think, how do I navigate that with horses? And I'm very interested to have this conversation. We've had mums on, as in people who have had children, but we haven't specifically spoken to them about that element of it. And well, it's obviously very fresh for Lucy, because she's only just recently had her baby Etta, and I'm really looking forward to it. So that'll be good. Too. How's yes, you said your week's been really busy with work. Have you managed to spend some time with Harley Babes?
Yeah, I have an interesting update. And do you know what's so fun about the podcast is it's kind of like a murder mystery, but not without the murder. Maybe just a mystery. In the sense that Miri's like, don't understand where you're going with this.
Explain.
Well, you know how I'm like, oh, so this happened, and I think it means this. And then on the next week, I'm like, so I figured it out.
Right, got it.
I told you all that at camp he kind of exploded in the cross country, and we were trying to work out why that happened. And then I can't remember where I've got to in where we are, but when he got back from camp, he had a few days off, and then I took him for a walk hack, really relaxed, loose reins and whatever. And I just felt like he wasn't happy, not like uncomfortable, but something not quite right, really gentle. But if I went to take contact, he was like, no, it's okay. It's fine. But it was very subtle, right? So I was like, I don't like this. Something's wrong. And I'd already called my physio, but she couldn't come out until yesterday. So I haven't been riding Harley. He's been having lots of time off. We've been going for in-hand walks, which has been absolutely delightful. I mean, the level of joy that I have felt just like walking alongside him through the bluebells. He's eating stuff. And like my partner came with me last Sunday and we all went for a walk together.
Oh,
and it was so lovely. And like, when was it? I can't remember what day it was. Whatever day it was, I like looked at him in the school. I looked at him on the lunge because I wanted to see how he was moving. He's definitely holding himself in a bit of tension, I think. And then I let him go loose, and he kept going over to jumps. And I was like, "Do you wanna jump some stuff?" So I started like running, and then he followed me, and then he followed me over jumps. It's on my Instagram. It was so cute. I just like giggled like a 13-year-old girl. It was adorable.
I love that. It was very sweet. I really enjoyed watching that. Cute. It was very like, it reminded me again of that thing that I say that you do so well, is like to remember where we started. Like you still are that little girl who wanted a horse all that time, and now you get to do that, and you can do whatever you want with your horse. Do you never want to ride your horse again? Fine, no problem. Do you want to run around and play with them? Fine, no problem. Like you can do whatever you want. If you don't enjoy doing something, don't do it. It's fine. They won't die. I promise. They'll probably appreciate you just doing the things that you want to do with them instead of things that somebody else says you should do with them.
Yeah. And my partner was like, oh my gosh, we should do this again and like bring a picnic. And I was like, yeah, we should, because that would be really cute. So anyway,
you guys don't have a dog or anything, do you?
No, we don't. We just have Harley. So yeah. So anyway, my physio came and I couldn't be there. I had to go to the office, but she's very good. So I kind of pre-briefed her on what I thought. And she called me this morning and was like, yeah, he's quite tight. She's quite sore. She was like, it's really unusual for him to be so... She was like, normally he's really quite subtle with when you're working with him and you really wouldn't notice unless you were really paying attention. She was like, but yesterday he was quite uncomfortable. She was like, I've no idea what he's done. She was like, I don't think it's anything you've done. I don't think it's the saddle. She said, but something is happening with the right hind and the left fore. And because it's happening across both, he can't compensate, which means he's really struggling. So anyway, I was like, well, that explains like everything. And I'm so glad I trusted my gut, because it really wasn't a lot apart from the cross country day. After that, you wouldn't have known that he was really not feeling good unless you were really looking for it. And I think you just know your horses so well. So anyway, well, he's going to have 10 days off, doing some race poles from the ground. We're going to do some in-hand walks. And I actually feel like it's come at the perfect time, because I was really hoping to slow down this spring. I feel like we started the year at a bit of a sprint. We were out every weekend competing and whatever. And there's some stuff I want to do this spring that requires us to slow down a little bit. And I just feel really excited, actually, which is so weird. Because if you'd have told me like last year, you can't ride your horse for 10 days, I'd be like, oh, that's sad. I mean, that's okay, but that's sad. Whereas now I'm like, cool, we can do some different in-hand hacks and we'll do this and this. So yeah.
Nice. Love that. Would you consider having like a vet check-in at this point with him?
Yeah, it's a good question. I hadn't, if I'm being totally honest, just based on what the physio had said, because she's like, I can't quite work out what it is. And we think, I mean, I literally have no idea what it is. And I don't know if the behaviour or what I'm seeing is like acute enough. I mean, you'd have to go really down a rabbit hole with it, which, I mean, this is a very real conversation that we're having. Like, he wouldn't be lame. You wouldn't be able to do a lameness workup and see anything. You'd have to go looking. And I think that presents its own challenges with things like insurance and stuff. And if I don't think at the moment he's presenting me with so much discomfort that I'm like, we must speak to the vet. But I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. I guess it's one of those patterns where I guess it's if you see a recurrence. I do sometimes think like... it's a hard one to say and rule out, and I'm just really playing devil's advocate here because I think this is an interesting conversation to be had as a wider conversation in terms of, you know, a whole horse, looking at the whole horse. But like, I don't think that you can say that you would have to go down like a whole rabbit hole without having done, you know, like if you had a vet see him and say, do some flexions, look at his whole body and say, there's nothing really here. Now we would have to go down a whole rabbit hole if you wouldn't like to do that. I think then you can be like, yes, I've done my due diligence in that space. I just think it's an interesting one because I do think often this a little bit comes back to, and this is why I said it, because it comes back to that, the old, oh, I've had their back, their teeth and their saddle checked.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, we can be like, oh, the physio said, and it also comes back to the fact that we as human beings who love our horses would really like someone to tell us that 10 days of nothing and walk poles is going to be the solution. And I'm not necessarily saying that this is the case for Harley, because I don't want you to be like, oh my God, I've got to read into this and this is da-da-da-da-da. But it is just, I think, important as someone who comes across these kind of conversations a lot with people to understand that, like, it's important that you can absolutely go with that train of thought, like do the 10 days, do your walking, do what you're going to do, but just have in the back of your mind that you wouldn't you can't necessarily say that you'd instantly have to go down a rabbit hole if you haven't done that initial just like check in, have a little lunge on a hard, a soft, do a little flexion, like just check in like that. It's hard to say that you would have to instantly go and have a bone scan if you haven't done that very first step, basically.
This actually presents a really interesting, like, conversational question for me, because as you were talking, my immediate reaction, and I actually think the reaction of probably quite a lot of people, is like, but it's not a big deal. And that was not like it's not a big deal, but like I was like, well, it's really subtle. And like, apart from that moment in the cross country, which I think had some other layers into it,
yeah,
you know, I was like, oh, but we went on and did this and this. So I don't look at him and think, oh my God, he's so uncomfortable all the time. Da, da, da. So then I was like, well, I think it's a physio related challenge or whatever. But it's interesting to hear you be like, well, I'd get the vet, because I almost am like, and maybe I'm just thinking differently about it, but I'm like, what on earth would I say? Like, the physio said he's a bit tight. I feel like he's a bit reactive down the left rein, like, or the right rein or whatever. But nothing else is happening. Like, and it's again, and I do think insurance in the back of people's minds plays into this, and that's hard. But yours aren't insured? You don't insure, or you do? I don't know.
Yeah, no, some of them are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't insure Blondie because I wouldn't put her through colic surgery, and she hates vets, so it's hard to know where to spend the money. But no, I'm not necessarily saying that if this was my situation, I would absolutely call the vet. I just think it's very important that we don't give the advice that because the physio said that you would have to go down a rabbit hole, that would directly be the next step, if that makes sense. Like, if you like do this and he still presents with that,
I think then it's like, what is happening?
Then you would be calling the vet and you'd be saying, I just would like you to come and do a brief lameness workup, basically, would be what my step would be. And I think it's important that, you know, the behavior, when our horses present us with any behavior, big, small, repetitive, random, that we have a very like scientific view of it. You know, we have to take the emotion out, and we have to look at this as, okay, what is that horse telling us? What are they doing? You know, why is that happening, and what does that mean? And this is a big part of kind of what I encourage people to do now. I'm actually at the moment doing like a 30-day groundwork reset with people.
Yeah, so
over
cool.
on my Patreon, and it's very cool because we're having this whole conversation around like where to get started with the groundwork. But one of the biggest things that I encourage people to do within it is learn about the groundwork patterns. Okay, like learn about good posture, understand about movement patterns in the horse's body, and become quite knowledgeable about what they should look like, right? Like in an ideal setting. But then when you come to look at your horse, I want you to become like the master of your horse. Like, I need to stop saying like. Goodness me, I've said like about 30 times.
That's okay.
But
just chatting.
I know. Sometimes when you notice yourself repeating a word, you think, yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
It's the awareness of our horses that allows us then to shape our groundwork practice, to shape our ridden work, to understand what our horse needs as an individual. Because if we don't do that, I think Mia said something very relevant. Maybe it was when she came over for the day, but she said, you know, often when we get started with the groundwork, it is very much just the steps of the groundwork. You know, it's like, what are the legs doing? What are the feet doing? Let's do that. And one of the things that I really encourage people to do is to kind of zoom out a bit and be like, okay, what are the feet doing? Yes, but what does the body feel? How do I feel in this moment? What are they feeling? What are they noticing? What can I notice? Because when we start to do that, then we start to get to a kind of deeper and more whole horse feeling with them. Yeah. And that's what I do when horses come to stay with us. I get this opportunity to kind of have this major overhaul of a horse, you know. Like if you and Harley were to come to stay, we would overhaul every single thing that you're doing. The way his body is, what he's eating, how he uses himself, how your tack fits, how you feel around him, how he feels around you, what's the environment saying to him, how he feels environmental pressure. It's this kind of whole horse approach that I'm really starting to feel very empowered by, actually. And it was so interesting. This is going to sound a bit big-headed, but it's a very cool place to have got to. We had a horse that came, and I just feel now like if a horse presents a problem to me, that I kind of have got quite a good number of answers for those like various different options. And it's a nice place to get to, because I've been doing this for a long time, but there was a long time where a horse would present itself and I'd be like, I've not seen that before. Where do we go from there? And it's taken a lot of watching. You know, that's the thing. That's what I wanted to say. It's not because I wanted to say that I'm good at my job, but I mean, it's taken years. Thank you. It's taken years of watching horses and learning from all of these different horses that come and go that has led me to feel like that. And that's what I encourage other people to do. That's what I encourage you to do, is, you know, keep listening. And it's great that you're listening at this small scale moment rather than waiting until it's a big scale moment, I think.
I do struggle with that though, and I'm quite envious of like professionals like yourself. Like, if I'm honest, I've said like 4 times in a sentence now. If I'm honest, I think about that cross country session like a lot, and I don't think Nikki would like this very much, my mindset coach, but I think about it all the time, because I'm like, how did you not have the sense of mind to be like, he's really struggling with something, and just because you can't figure out the answer in this moment, the answer is then stop the thing, like just get off, or you know, walking around, or you know, walking back to the stable or whatever it is. And I think about that so much, and I'm like, God damn it, why did I not have the answer then? And even though obviously I came home and I reevaluated and I stopped riding and we did other stuff, I feel like I'm getting closer to it all the time, but I find it really hard not to have all the answers all the time, and that is a really high bar. But how do your clients manage that when you're not there? Do they have the same thing where they just like think about stuff?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. You are very, very aware person, though. Remember that. You know, you're very much, you know, conscious of those things, and I think the key is you are doing quite hard stuff still. You know, like you are doing like quite big stuff, like going to a camp and going and doing a cross-country course with a group of other people. That's quite like a big thing to do with a horse, actually. And I think it's okay to know that it was, you know, hard in the moment and you didn't maybe completely nail your response to that in that exact moment. Like, please don't be so hard on yourself. I'm not by any means like never coming across those feelings. I think the key to like really good horsemanship is just listening to the whisper, not the shout. And you probably will never miss him whisper again in those moments. But also the hard thing is sometimes you've got to do the hard thing and go a bit through the whisper to come out the other side. I think that is the tricky bit with young horses, is you're like, is this him? What is the question here? Is it I don't understand? Is it I don't feel safe? Is it I'm not getting clear direction? Because to your point, sometimes you're like, okay, his response is big because actually he hasn't been given enough direction. But sometimes it's like the response is big because he's like, get me out of here. And I think that's hard, is like, I think sometimes you have to choose a path of like, is this a training thing or is this a how you're feeling in your life thing? And then I think I chose the training path because I was like, okay, well, you know, he's obviously not feeling like he's got the right support and I'm not doing something right, and and obviously it just got worse and worse. And I was like, okay, this is not really landing the way we thought it would. And then of course we were like, okay, let's change tack. But yeah, it's a funny thing, and that I think is where blending traditional learning with, which has its place, like it's been going on for thousands of years and it is built on some good principles, but also blending that with all the new stuff that we're learning about horses and how they process and how their brains work and their bodies move, and finding how those two things can coexist, if indeed they can. I think also this does come back to the fact that like the training principles that were initially the foundations of what we call dressage, for example, today was built on like a very different outcome, and also like the way that we do things now is very different from the way that things were done a long time ago. And so it means that horses have much bigger expectations on them, you know. There's lots of different nuance to it. And I agree, like, yes, like the amalgamation of different ways is definitely very important, and finding what feels good is really a big part of it. And, you know, maybe if you'd say to me, how do I get back to going cross-country schooling? I know you've not actually asked me that question, but I'm going to answer it as if you had. My suggestion to you would be like, how easy can you make it?
Yeah.
How many, and a few times over. You know, don't expect to be able to go back to doing it what you were doing before. How easy can you make it? Like, could you go to a cross-country training where, you know, arena hire, whatever, cross-country hire, whatever you want to do, and do some groundwork. See how he is. And then, okay, it's feeling really good. Okay, now I'm going to get on. Okay, yeah, and I'm going to walk around together. Okay, yeah, this is really good. Okay, now I'm going to have a trot around. Oh, yeah, this is really good. I'm going to have a canter. Oh, this is really hard. Canter takes it over the limit. Okay, bring it back down. Good. Like, I think sometimes, and this is something that coaches often is a really hard balance. Like, if somebody pays me to come for a jump lesson and their horse is really over its limit, and I'm like, jumping would be a bad idea today. Once upon a time, I would have really struggled to have had that conversation. Yeah. But now, I mean, I don't really teach many clinics anymore because my life just has shifted in a different trajectory than it previously did. But I do think now, if I was to be teaching a jumping clinic and somebody turned up and their horse was literally having an awful time and, like, you know, was really stressed, leaping, rearing or whatever, I would explain to them the process of what was going on and say, look, I can see that your horse is really having a difficult time. What we don't want to do is keep pushing the pressure onto the hard time. We need to break this down and work from there. But once upon a time, I would have felt that very difficult to do, because if somebody's coming to you and paying for a jumping lesson, there is an expectation there. And it's the same thing with people turning up and then the horse isn't comfortable in the body, sound or whatever. You know, you have to get to a really confident place in your life as a coach to be able to be like, excuse me, you can't ride your horse. Imagine. It's not something that you ever want to be. It's not easy to ever be in that position. I've been in that position a number of times, and thankfully my diplomacy skills are elite now. But it's really difficult. You imagine you come over to have a jumping lesson with me, or we were going to have a lesson, and you'd driven all the way, and you were really excited, and I turned up and I said, I'm really sorry, but I think there's a reason why this is happening, or whatever. You know, that's a very hard thing. It's been quite the tangent of conversation today.
Well, no, but this is where, like, regular coaching is so helpful, because if I was saying to my coach after, I was like, we did obviously drop the height and stuff of the fences, but we weren't really able to tackle the actual challenge. Whereas I think if I'd been there with my regular coach, because she's done it like at least 4 times in lessons before, where she's like, this isn't working. He's finding this really hard. Today is not a jumping day, or today is not a whatever it is we were going to do, and we do something really different. And I was just annoyed at myself that I didn't spot that, and I wasn't the coach for him in that moment. But that's okay. How have your ponies been?
Horses have been good. Blondie had her Improvac vaccine again. Her hormone.
Oh, yep. Okay.
So Blondie has a hormone vaccine every 6 months, and it suppresses the production of GnRH, which is the first step in the hormone building blocks, basically. So she had that, and that was a complete non-event, which was really nice. We did we put her in the horse box because she's very, very needle reactive, and it evidently physically hurts when she has an injection. And so we put her in the horse box, and she has her little bit of numbing cream on the area beforehand, and then the vet's really good now. Like, she knows Blondie, and so she comes and I do a little bit of like touching her bum, going to her head, so it's not also a surprise. Yeah, basically
knows the process.
And it still makes her squeak. Like, she squeals every time she has it, you know, like, and you think most horses, you do a vaccine and they're just like,
you don't hear horses squeak that often anyway, like, ever. I mean, sometimes, Harley doesn't like having vaccines, and he'll like tense up, but he won't make any noise.
No. Whereas I do wonder if the world would be a very different place if horses made a noise when
100%.
people inflicted discomfort on them.
Yeah,
you know?
like I think people talk about that when they say when you accidentally stand on a dog's paw and they like make that horrible noise and you're like, I'm so sorry. If that happened when you pulled on the rein too hard or whatever, you would sort out your riding quickly, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm. Mental. Food for thought, right? You know, and you think like the BS have a rule where you can use your stick 3 times. I don't know if that's actually, that may be outdated. It might not be that anymore. But either way, you know what? Like, that was a rule at one point, that you could hold a whip in your hands like a normal short jumping whip, turn it upside down so it sticks out the top of your hand, and use it 3 times behind the saddle, and that was perfectly reasonable ruling. Yeah. And then you think about Blondie, who cries out when you give her a vaccine, and you think, gosh, she is a great teacher because she is a reminder of the reality of pain in horses. She has PSSM, she's very complicated, all of those different things are a part and parcel. She is just very honest with how she feels. And, I do wonder, I hate it when people say, oh, they wouldn't do it if they weren't in pain. It's absolute rubbish. They really would.
Agreed.
They would do nearly anything to not look like they are in pain, because it is fundamentally built into their evolutionary, their nature is to stay alive. If they were the one in the herd who is unsound or weak or whatever, they would potentially lose their, place in the group. They would also be the ones that the predators would notice. They are still those animals. They are still them. They haven't evolved to not have those evolutionary traits or those life-saving things. So, yeah, your horse is going to cover up the fact that they don't feel great, even if even if you don't want them to. Whereas, Blondie, she is like, nope. Maybe we should breed from Blondie so that she breeds more horses that are really truthful. We're not going to do that. That would be a terrible idea.
Call it the squeaky stud.
Squeaky stud. Well, anyway. So she had her vaccine, and I got to it was my birthday this week, actually.
It was!
Yeah.
How was it? Because I know that there was lots happening in the run-up and...
Yeah, so on Saturday night, my lovely cat Lyra, who we adopted with our house, unfortunately had a stroke. We think she had a stroke. We didn't take her for any sort of diagnostics. She was 17, and I came down on Sunday morning, and she had peed all over the floor in the bathroom, in the utility room, and she couldn't move properly. It was really odd. She could feel her back legs, but they didn't work, and she was there was some sort of disconnection between the front end and the back end, and I had to make the very hard decision to let her go. And I'm doing okay. I'm feeling more okay with it each day, because I knew she was never going to be with us for a very long time, because she was really old. Cats can live till they're 20, but that's kind of a miracle. 18, 17 is, and we don't know exactly how old she was, because obviously we'd only had her a short time, but it doesn't make it any less sad. And she had a very peaceful end, and it was as good as it can be. The vet that came, who I managed to get hold of on a Sunday, which was a bit of a nightmare, was very kind. And anyway, so my birthday was a bit overshadowed, you could say, because I just felt very sad, and my grief I really find grief is a funny one. It's like waves. I'm sure people will resonate with that, is that these things, they come and they kind of ebb and flow, I think, like water. So that has been the case. I'm feeling okay today. Feeling more okay to talk about it. But then, I wrote a post about her this morning and shared it on Instagram, and that made me cry a lot, because I miss her. That's it. I miss her being around. She was funny and she was lovely, and that's the thing, isn't it? With animals, it is a hard thing that we live longer than them, and I don't know, there's probably some very meaningful life lesson in that, you know. I don't know what it is yet, and I hate that it is something that we have to be okay with as humans. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that I found it brought up for me a lot was that with all of our pets is the same, you know, like, and that is very, like, I've had Bentley for 12 years. Mm-hmm. You know, Bentley, my spaniel, and I think about it, and it's just a part of life, isn't it? But I'm not very good at that part of life, and I wish I didn't have to be good at that part of life. So, but yes, I went for a hack on my actual birthday for the first time here. My friend brought her lovely seasoned hunt horse over, who she cares for with the family that she's a groom for a family with horses, and Zora was just great, and we went like off-roading, and it was just really fun. Like it was what I needed, you know. It was good for my soul, and I'm so looking forward to doing more hacking here. Like the hacking is that we've got this opportunity to ride on is really cool. Like it's really great, and if we get a bit of rain, we're going to be able to go out and have some nice canters, and it's just yeah. So, and then my parents came around for dinner, and yeah, it was nice. It was really good. I did get a very special birthday present, but I'm not going to talk about it yet. Oh, no, maybe I should talk about it, actually. George came home on Tuesday with 2 kittens.
I was wondering where this was going.
And I told you, didn't I?
Yeah.
I had already told you, yeah.
And we talked about it, yeah.
And actually, it was interesting because on Tuesday afternoon, we needed to go to Pets at Home, and I didn't really feel ready for another cat, really. But he felt like he was doing the right thing, because he was like, you were just so sad that I thought this would make you feel better. Like, honestly, like the loveliest human being. But I'll be honest, I found it really hard initially. I was like, I didn't want to replace her. Like, why did you do that? And I didn't want to be ungrateful, and they're so sweet and tiny and adorable. But we went to Pets at Home in the afternoon, and I cried in the middle of Pets at Home, and the guy at the till was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not okay. Somebody said catnip and it made me cry, because Lyra loved catnip so much. Anyway, so it's been a tumultuous week. So I have got 2 new kittens, and they do need names. So maybe you guys could help, because they're both boys, and I would like them to have names that were like, I don't know, fun, maybe?
Going down the hen route, you know, like Kim Kardashian and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Maybe punny cat names, I don't know. I was thinking they could be called, like, I don't know, like Steve and, like, Dave, because that could be funny, having...
My friend, who's a groom for a family as well, he sometimes gets new horses from Ireland and they don't have names, so he names them like just really funny things.
Brian.
And my friend had a horse, a dressage horse, like a really well-bred, gorgeous dressage horse, and he was literally called Neil. I just think that's so funny. And I love a Brian, like Brian the Cob, like you can't go wrong, can you really?
Yeah. We've got a Harold at the moment, which is nice. It really suits him.
Oh, I love a Harold.
He's definitely a Harold. Yeah. So anyway, cat names. I've been calling them Pinky and Ponky, and George is like, you've got to stop doing that, because they're going to end up Pinky and Ponky, and they can't. You know, I'm like, hello, Pinky Ponkies. You know? They are so amazing. They're 9 weeks old, and they can go to the toilet in the litter tray 100% of the time.
Wow. Are they outdoor? Are they like outside cats? Can they be outside yet?
They can't. They will not. They'll be outdoor cats. You know, they'll be just come and go as they please kind of jobs.
Yeah.
Poodle.
Okay. Great.
Well, I suppose that's a debrief. Long one, but I best guess it's time to get Lucy on. I'm excited about this.
Me too.
I'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this episode, Jelka. Now, I've been working with Jelka on our farm renovation, and one of the things that we wanted to get definitely right was our rubber matting. Now, I have had some bad experiences with horses on concrete floors, and I knew that the rubber matting was something that I really, really needed to get right for a number of reasons. One of the reasons being because where we were at our old yard, we never fitted the matting properly. So it was kind of just whole mats put on the floor, and what that meant was there was gaps, and muck would get under the mats and you'd catch your fork on it all the time, and it was quite frustrating. I think quite frustrating is actually a real understatement. So I knew that the rubber matting was something that I wanted to get right. So I had a conversation with Jelka and I said, how can you help me? And they put me onto something called Belmondo. Now, Belmondo is a very horse specific brand and they offer an enormous range of rubber matting. They sent me some samples and I was like, my goodness, I did not know that there were so many different options of rubber matting. And we chose their Belmondo Basic, and they're these puzzle piece mats that all fit together. They're 1 metre square, and we fitted them ourselves, and actually it was a fairly straightforward process. It was lengthy because we were fitting 14 stables, but it was a really easy to do thing and so satisfying, and it's just really lovely. The horses are sleeping really well on the matting. It's super easy to muck out on because it's such a smooth, even surface. They aren't bumpy like your normal kind of rubber mattings. They've got a hoof print pattern on them, which I really love. And they've just been a really brilliant piece of the puzzle, literally, for us in the barn. And I'm very, very happy with our rubber matting. So you can find Jelka and their amazing range of products in the show notes. And yeah, it's an absolute honour to be partnering with this company. Back to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, Lucy. We've had a little preamble. We have been joined by a baby, and now we are ready to get started. How are you doing?
I am great. I did just learn something. You've just taught me something, because I did caveat. I came onto the call and I said, excuse me, I've got no brain function anymore. It's gone out of my ears. And then you've just told me a fun fact about grey matter, which I can't remember, but it's something about grey matter.
So Lucy said that she's been struggling with a bit with baby brain. And I said, I bet there is a physiological reason for this, that mothers kind of forget where their keys are, but aren't going to forget where their baby is. And it is true, because research shows a 5% reduction in grey matter, which is thought to increase brain efficiency for bonding and social tasks rather than reducing overall intelligence. So meaning that basically when you have a baby, your body prioritises what is important, which is bonding with your amazing little beast that you have created. Isn't that cool?
That is quite a cool fact, and it is nice to have some supporting evidence of my stupidity.
Oh, Lucy!
We've also learnt that Lucy is very self-deprecating today, so we're going to have to continuously boost her confidence throughout this conversation.
Oh, sorry, I hate it when people do this as well. It's so lame, isn't it? It's like, oh, woe is me. I'm actually fine. I'm actually having a great time as well, so... Thank you for having me also.
Pleasure.
Okay, so Lucy, before we get into... I have so many questions about the baby and coming back to riding and all of that stuff. But for those who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about you, the content creation and what you do? Because you're a marketeer as well, which is a horrible word, but, you are. And so am I. And that's cool.
What do I do? So I like to make content... about kind of mainly about my ex-racehorse, Ember, who is just the light of my life. And I started, how many years ago did I start? I started doing it properly kind of like around COVID time, I reckon.
Really? I always thought it was like way earlier than that.
Well, it was, so maybe you're right, actually, because I think I started doing it after the Blue Chip All-Star Academy, which was the first series with Horse and Country. That was in I lied. That was 2016. So, but it wasn't like serious. And then I guess COVID was, I thought, well, I might as well do something with this. And that's when I started doing it more heavily on the YouTube. But yeah, so I like to just do kind of real videos showing our journey from Ember being a racehorse to kind of a grassroots event horse, which has been a long, bumpy ride, but it's all for the banter. And
it's all for the plot.
And I do work in marketing in for a equestrian brand as well. So I'm very much in the industry, which is great. So I get to see all sides of it, because I also do influence marketing as well. So I guess I'm an influencer, but I'm also work for both sides, so it's quite interesting. So yeah, and now I'm a mummy, which is even more delightful. So yeah, and Etta will be 5 months next week, which has flown by. It's crazy.
Wow. And so can you, I mean, so obviously you have many strings to your bow as such. And one of the things that I think is one of the things we haven't spoken about with anybody is like, how have you found that kind of transition? I mean, it sounds like maybe you kind of shape your work around the horses a bit, but how have you found that transition to becoming a mum while also having your identity with the horses as well?
Do you mean in terms of like how I come across online, or how it just works like day to
No,
day?
I mean like how does it feel? Like not so much like what you post about, but more like actually just you as a person. Like how does that feel to be now a horse person and a mum?
A lot. It's a lot, but it's fun, and you kind of just make it work. I think that was my biggest worry before becoming a mother, was like, how am I going to do fit in the horses, and how is it going to work? And I was it did stress me out a little bit, because I don't necessarily have the support from the horses are at a yard by themselves, and there's no one else on the yard. It's a private yard. It's just them. So it's just down to me to do them. But it's all kind of figured itself out. Like, I just didn't really, I guess I didn't want to overthink it. And I just thought, well, I'll just wing it and see what happens. And that's what I've done. So, and it's working. So
That is really good to hear, because like I worry that I have that thought a lot. Like I'm like, where would children fit into this chaotic, full on thing? And it's nice to hear that you just kind of went with it. That's a really great. I'm really pleased, because I feel like that's what I'd have to do if it came around to that.
I'm really interested to hear how it's been getting back to riding. Because I know am I right in thinking you stopped riding pretty early in your pregnancy? So you didn't ride for obviously the majority of your pregnancy, and I know you're back riding and jumping, and you've been sharing reels, and some lessons haven't gone amazing and others have been fine. So what's it been like getting back on the horse? Did you feel different either in your body or mentally?
yeah, so I stopped. I can't exactly remember when I stopped riding, but I basically had really bad PGP, which is pelvic girdle pain for anyone who doesn't know what PGP is. And it basically meant that I essentially couldn't really move that much. And for someone who's so active, not even be able to lift, get myself out of the car. I couldn't get up off the sofa. I couldn't do anything. I could only lift my legs probably an inch off the floor. So I had to shuffle everywhere, shuffle and waddle. It was it was awful. It was, yeah. And I think I had probably I'm not moaning about being pregnant, because obviously I'm so grateful and lucky to be in this position.
I think that's okay. It's okay to have found it hard. You're growing a whole person.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the pregnancy. It was tough, and I think that kind of took it out of me. And then I had an emergency C-section, which obviously I wasn't planning on having, because it was an emergency. And then that means that obviously recovery, you're not allowed to do anything for 6 weeks. Don't do anything. So, and I was obviously very serious about that, because I would want to give my body as much opportunity as you can to recover properly after major abdominal surgery. It's even though they get you up and walking literally the day after, it's crazy. It's mad. It's actually mad. And then you're like, oh, and look after this tiny person as well. Anyway, that's a whole different story. So recovery wise, I was quite, I took it easy. I did lots of walking when I was able to, and I just started walking very gradually, and just building up, kind of like how I would if I were a horse.
I love that so much. So I rehabbed myself back from my C-section.
Basically, I did. And then when I felt ready, I think I was about 7 weeks, but I didn't want to get back onto Ember because, you know, he had had, like 8 months off, and of literally just being a horse in the field, which he loved. So my trainer and friend, Justine, was like, well, why don't you come and ride one of mine? And she offered her horse Mazette, who she field masters on with the bloodhounds, who is like the Rolls Royce of horses.
Oh,
but this day was a particularly windy, rainy, horrible day, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just go in the arena and I'll just, you know, have a walk and maybe a trot round. And he was so strong, and I nearly fell off because he was so fresh. But it was kind of like, well, back in the deep end. I didn't fall off. I felt like jelly. It was weird. So yes, I think mentally, I know I wanted to do it so badly. So nothing was really stopping me on that side, just because, you know, I hadn't ridden for so long, and that was it. Kind of made me a bit emotional. I'm not an emotional person, but being back on and like the want to do it was quite a lot. And then my second ride, I rode Jess, who is Life on the Buckle, her horse, and I went for a hag, and we ended up cantering around the whole farm and jumps. So that was fun.
Lucy. I think I saw
that was Justine's fault.
And I was like, what's she doing? Although Jess's horse is very cool. He's very cool. He's also an Irish draft horse, just putting that out there.
He is very cool, and he did look after me, except for when he did tiddle off with me, because it was also rainy and windy that day as well, and I had no grip on my reins, and he just... But I survived. And then from that point, I was like, well, that is very much in the deep end. So now anything is going to be easy. And it was pretty easy going on from there. And then I started building Ember back up, fitness-wise, and now he's feeling fine. So, yeah, it's been fun. It's been a whirlwind, actually.
You touched on something, actually, that I would like to retrace our steps to, if it's okay, because... you kind of glossed over, or like mentioned, but then said, but that's a whole nother story, when you spoke about how you had a C-section and then literally they get you to walk straight afterwards. And I think it's really interesting, because I think this is probably something that goes a bit unspoken about for women, but like childbirth, C-sections, carrying a child, having 9 months of essentially hard pregnancy, you know, that is not to be like played down, I suppose, and it sounds a bit like, you know, when they get you up and walking, it kind of maybe makes you feel like you should play it down a bit. Do you feel a bit like that, like having gone through that it's like a major life thing, right? Doing all of that.
Yeah, it's strange, because you're in the hospital, and it's a very bizarre environment, because you're around, in my ward that I was in, it seemed like everyone in there had emergency sections. I don't know if my hospital just really liked doing C-sections. It was like, yep, just whip it out. And I was in there for a bit longer, because I was waiting for like the feeding consultant or something. Anyway, it just basically turned out that I was in there for longer than normal. And I was hearing all these people come in and out, and it's actually quite horrible, because you can hear everything that's going on around you 24/7, everyone's babies, everything. It's very overwhelming environment. And at first I felt, you know, I was safe in there because I was with the professionals. I had no idea what I was doing, you know. How do I look after a baby? I don't know. But it kicked in quite quickly, like the maternal thing, luckily for me. But then hearing everyone else struggling, and this one woman who was across from me, they tried to make her stand up, and she fainted from the pain that she was in. And it was awful. I felt like I had been stitched up too tight, because I couldn't stand up straight. because it felt like I was, it was really bad. And then you've got this whopping great big scar. And I don't know, it's all a bit weird, but I've kind of put that, I can't really remember much of it, because I think there's something where you're wired to put it all to the back of your mind and not really think of it, put it in a box and throw away the key, because that's why people have children over and over again, I think, because it's a weird experience, and it's all a bit hazy, even though it wasn't even that long ago. But did I even answer your question? I have no idea.
No, you did. And I think it's important, because I think that there'll be a lot of women who have been in very similar situations, because I basically said, like, did you feel like, you know, the importance of it kind of gets a bit downgraded, basically? And what you said is yes.
I think so.
Absolutely. And I know there's a lot of conversations around this, like the lack of care for women around this time, basically. I know Louise Thompson talks a lot about it. She had a very awful birthing experience, and she talks a lot about it, and she's like petitioning for change in the government for it. And actually I shared something recently, a charity that supports women postpartum and women with depression and all sorts of different things. And like there's if a woman adopts, you know, gives her baby up for adoption, that her right to support ends as soon as that takes place. And that's like just like her right to mental health support completely just severs when she hands her baby over to somebody else. And it's just terrible. There's just absolutely no support, you know. And so I think it's important, because often I do think, you know, women are we just get back on with it, you know, like just carry on.
Yes.
Just stand up. Sorry? What do you mean?
It's actually nuts when you think about it. Like, it's bizarre. Like, major surgery, and then you are in charge of a life, like, really solely. It's very bizarre, but it's just the way it is at the moment, isn't it?
And I think it's very reassuring, actually, for you to say, you know, the maternal instinct, this happens, like it's like a natural thing. That must feel kind of amazing, to just kind of have this part of you that just kind of shows up when you need it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I say, before, kids used to just ick me out, like, ooh. Like, can very much deal with animals all day, every day, but the thought of, you know, before, children, and then something, I don't know if it was when I met my partner, that changed, because I thought he's, you know, good man, and he can, you know, he'll be a good teammate. So, which he is. So, yeah, I'm very lucky in that respect as well. So very grateful for that.
I do think that's such a thing. I've heard that with several women, actually, where they're like, I never really thought about children, even like in my first marriage or whatever. And actually a friend of mine were talking about this the other day, and she said, but then I met my second husband, and I just felt completely different, and they had children and they're really happy and it's lovely. And I was like, oh, I just love that.
Yeah.
I remember when you met Rob.
Do you?
And yeah, you posted on your Instagram and you were being like really coy about it, and there was like a hand in a picture.
Soft reveal.
Yeah. And I remember commenting on it, like, and I think I talked about his pink shorts. I'm going to go back on our Instagram messages and find out, because I actually think like I just remember it really clearly, because I remember thinking, oh, this guy seems like a kind of, you know, steady kind of dude in her life, and here we are. So yeah, it's cool. I don't know.
Here we are. Yeah. 3 years later, how things have changed.
And you're going to get married? You're engaged?
That's the plan. Obviously I didn't want to get married this year because I can't deal with that mentally. It's too much to think about.
That would be a lot of organising with the baby brain.
No, don't want to do that. So we thought next year would be sensible, and so I'm kind of vaguely starting to think about plans, but again, nothing too. At the moment I just want to give myself a little bit of a break, but that will fly by, and then it will end up being 10 years down the line I'll be like, oh yeah, I still need to do that wedding. Whoopsie.
Oh, but Etta will be a very sweet little flower girl, so that'll be nice.
Well, yes, she's looking at me thinking, that's my job. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
I do love that.
She's being very good. She's literally just chilling next to me. So.
She's being very good.
She just wanted to be on the podcast. It's a 4-girl podcast today. That's what she says.
4 girls and Bentley's nose, which is currently peeking out next to the microphone.
My black spaniel's nose. That's so pretty. Honestly, so neat.
So, Lucy, what does your day-to-day life look like now? Because we see bits and pieces of it on Instagram, but how does it actually look, feel? How does it work? This episode is brought to you by Westgate Labs, and on this podcast, Miri and I talk a lot about young horses. And when we talk about giving them the best possible start, parasite control is one of the most important factors. Yet, it is often overlooked or introduced far too late.
Young horse immune systems are still developing, which makes them far more vulnerable than adult horses. Parasites can establish quickly, and if left unmanaged, they can begin causing damage long before any obvious signs appear. In reality, how we manage parasites can shape a horse's health, development, and long-term performance. And this is something that I actually found with a young horse of mine, that I wasn't careful enough when she was a real baby, and I let wormer resistance build, actually, and that was a real problem, and I've been working with Westgate Labs to help that, and now she no longer has wormer resistance, which is really positive, because it is actually normal for young horses to carry worms. What isn't normal is allowing those burdens to build unchecked. Without a structured plan, issues such as poor growth, digestive upset, and even respiratory problems can develop. In some cases, the effects can last for years, limiting a horse's ability to reach its full potential.
Regular testing allows you to make informed decisions and avoid unnecessary treatments, protecting both horse and the effectiveness of wormers for the future. Getting this right early on is one of the simplest ways to support long-term health. Westgate Labs can support you with practical advice and reliable testing, helping to protect young horses at every stage. Use the discount EQLife10 for 10% off Westgate Labs kit. This is excluding Equicell and subscription plans. And get results that you can trust to protect your horse. Visit westgatelabs.co.uk/shop. We'll put that in the show notes, and once again that code is EQLife10 for 10% off. Back to the podcast.
Steady. Very steady. So obviously, in a dream world, I would get to ride every day and do all the horsey things that I want to do, because you're like, I'm on mat leave, I can do whatever I want. But the reality is very different to that. So I have 2 days in the week where one day my mum and my dad come and they help look after Etta. And then another day, Rob works from home. So on those 2 days, they're my chance to go riding, but my riding in the week looks very different because I've only got a very short time slot, because I'm breastfeeding as well, so I can't be away from her for too long, and obviously Rob can't be working from home and looking after a baby because that doesn't work, so I have to go before the hours, so it's a very little time slot when I get to go. So I'll do all the horsey stuff in the morning if she's got someone looking after her. If not, then I take her with me everywhere and we'll go do the horses, and she will sit in the pram while I'm poo picking, and just, I try and time it around naps. I had no idea about any of this timing thing before. I'm so disorganized as a person. But talk to me about routines. Don't have them. I don't do routines, which is why when Mira was like, what time works for you? I was like, just maybe this time could work. So yeah, it's very I've got to be very flexible basically. And if, I start doing a horsey job, the other day I thought, well, I'll tidy up Ember's mane. And then I got halfway through and she kicked off a little bit. So I was like, right, we're going to have to bail on this one. So things like that. You just have to be like, well, it will get done at some point. But yeah. So, and then weekends are very good because Rob will come with me to the yard. We'll go out, he'll come and hold the baby while we do some filming or whatever. Because obviously I've got to keep up on the content side of things as well. And yeah, so it's a bit weird. And then some days you don't feel like you've achieved anything, but then you have to remember, well, actually you have achieved something because you've kept a person alive and you know, the horses and the dogs are walked and everything. And yes, there might be a few piles of laundry still to do, because that is literally bottom of my list. But everything else is fine. So yeah, you've got to take the wins when they come. So
100%. And you mentioned actually there, like, I've got to do the content. And I do wonder, like, I find this, and Mary, maybe you find this too, like when you've done it for so many years, I find there have definitely been moments where I've been like, oh, I might just stop. Like, especially as I've got more senior at work, I found it more and more challenging to do it. And I mean, yours is much bigger than mine, so I feel like your revenue streams are probably bigger. But like, there are times when I'm like, oh, sometimes I feel like I might just not do it ever again. And then I'm like, oh no, I really enjoy it. So like, having had the baby, has it changed your relationship with creating content? Do you feel differently about it? Or are you just like, yeah, it's just another part of life that I'm showing or not showing?
It's a tough one, because I go through ebbs and flows. Like one day I'll be like, yeah, this is great. It's so natural and organic and whatever. But it's the days where maybe you're struggling to find what to post, and then it feels a bit forced, and you're like, oh, and then I don't want to post all the time. Obviously I'm not posting about my daughter, because that's just something I choose to do. But but when I'm not doing anything else in the day apart from with my baby, it's quite difficult. So yeah, and then it's great. I would say in this new chapter, I've possibly reaching a bit of a new demographic, maybe people in similar situations to me, which is great. So I want to be able to show as much as possible kind of like how the juggle works, because that is something that I wanted to tap into when I was pregnant. I was like, well, I want to see how this is going to work. It's, you know, so I don't know. I think it's my content's slightly changed, but the core of it is still very much Ember focused, and yeah, kind of that side of things. So yeah.
This brings me on to a question that I have been burning to ask, which you have probably answered in a YouTube video, and I'm sorry if I'm asking you to repeat yourself, but you did advertise Ember for sale at one point.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that.
Can you tell us a bit about how you still own said pony? What happened?
I think the long and short of it is I can never sell a horse. I've never done it. I just don't think I could ever do it. Every time I think about it, I just think of Black Beauty, and I think, well, they're going to end up like Ginger.
Oh my God, I literally have the same thing. I'm like, I can't bear what might happen. I'm sure there's like a whole generation of people who are like, I can't sell my horse because of Black Beauty.
Yeah, it is a thing. But basically, I had kind of convinced myself that when I was pregnant, that Ember was always supposed to be a project, and I'm too big for him. You know, because I'm tall, I'm 5'11" nearly, and he's 15'1", tiny little thoroughbred, and you know, he's quite a quirky ride, blah blah blah, all these things. And I thought, well, someone will want to have more fun with him. Like, I've done what I can, yada yada yada. I don't know where this mindset came from, but it was there at the time. And then to the point where I did pay for a HorseQuest ad. So it was obviously a real thing. It wasn't just like me chatty about it, because that was 40 quid to advertise for a whole 3 days or whatever it was. And then I had a complete epiphany. I was like, what am I doing? Like, realistically, he's not a horse for everyone, and I would hate for him to go in the wrong hands. I had a couple of phone calls about him, and talking to the people, they're very nice and everything, but I just found myself also getting like automatically jealous that someone else might be owning my horse. It's so stupid. Like, it's bizarre. I've just so I just messaged HorseQuest. I was like, can you take that down, please?
Do you know what though? I actually think this is a thing, because when I was looking for Woody, my first horse, I went to a viewing, I can't remember, and it was like a mother-daughter, so it was a daughter's horse. And as I was riding, I was like, obviously being quite complimentary. I was like, oh, he's really this, da da da. And I could see the daughter just being like, Like the cogs in her brain were going, why are we selling why are we selling my really nice horse? And I was thinking, and he wasn't ended up not being for me, but I'm almost certain they didn't sell him. And I just think there's nothing like making you appreciate your horse like someone else wanting to buy them.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm so glad that I didn't sell him. I was so glad that he couldn't sell, actually. I mean, I didn't give it that long. As I said, I only gave it 3 days. But I found myself telling the perspective, but obviously you have to be completely transparent in a horse sale. But like some of the things that I was saying about him, like, you know, do you know when you go into too much detail and then it's like, no one else is going to be able to understand this as much as I can. So just stop, Lucy, what you're doing.
Were you planning on telling people about it? Because I think when you first shared it, it's because people had seen the HorseQuest ad. And of course, people are like, oh my God, Lucy, are you selling Ember? And then, of course, you created a video and were like, this is me talking about it. But I'm guessing you weren't actually planning to be like, by the way, everybody, this is what's going to happen.
No, so on the HorseQuest, like when I was doing the ad, you could have one option as just the ad on the website, or you can pay an additional to have it on social media. So I thought, well, I'll just do the website and not do the social media thing, because that was obviously where it would get all the traction, probably. Anyway, they posted it on social media.
Because they were like, oh, it's Lucy's horse. Yeah.
And I was like, and they tagged me in it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to share that. Anyway, I got a million messages being like, is this Ember? And I was like, well, yeah, obviously. Yeah, so I wasn't planning on making... I just didn't want it to be a big deal. And more for me, more than anything. Which goes against everything, because if you're trying to sell a horse, you obviously want it advertised everywhere. And normal people would be like, yay, they've shared it and I've got more for my money. But I was like, no, why have they done that? Sorry, horse.
Don't tell anybody.
No, but at the same time, it probably tells you everything that you needed to know about whether you actually wanted to sell your horse or not.
Precisely, which I obviously
or
didn't
whether
want
you
to do.
kind of thought that you should sell him. You know, like it's the right thing to do because I'm a mum now and I'm a bit tall and whatever it might be. But actually, I mean, I've never thought that you look tall on him, by the way. So, because I think he looks very deep. He's got like a deep girth, so it looks like he takes your leg up really well, your lovely long legs. But I think this whole thing around like, yeah, there's this kind of like expectation of how we should do things. And I think it's good that you know, bucked the trend as such and said, no, you know what, actually, I don't want to sell this horse, so I'm going to make it work, whatever, like you did, like, you know, like we do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm grateful that I came to my senses, because he's now, after his holiday, feeling the best he's ever felt as well. So, and he's being a joy to bring back in. I mean, there were a couple of rides where it was a bit touch and go. We've got past that now. Now he's fine. So, yeah.
And are your goals with him still the same? Because obviously you've evented him previously, and you were doing quite a lot of eventing, I think, if I remember rightly. Are you still wanting to do that, or are you like, actually, I'm going to slow down or do something different, or, you know, what are you interested in?
So, I mean, I've got my first event booked, which is, funnily enough, on the 24th of May, which is the ROR Championships at Osberton.
I feel like I should know that. Your followers are going to kill me because they're like, how did you not know? Lucy's been talking about this. I actually do follow Lucy.
I haven't talked about it.
Oh, okay, good. Breaking news.
Yeah.
Newsflash.
So I don't know what possessed me to enter championships for my first event back, but in my defense, like, I just want to I know I want to event him this year because he does enjoy it, and he loves the cross country more than anything. That's his favourite thing to do. So and it's a great goal for me to have to work towards, but I'm not putting any extra pressure on myself. My thing is that I just want to go and have fun with my horse and my baby and my partner, and we can go to an event and have fun and just kind of enjoy it, basically. However, then seeing everyone go and smash badminton this weekend, I am like, there's still part of me which is like, I would love to be able to qualify to do the grassroots thing. But yeah, so eventing is still very much the aim. However, I am really wanting to touch more on the groundwork side of things, which I need you're the experts, because
Miri has perked up significantly at that particular moment.
How can it
I'm
help?
just so, like, Ember is a complex character, and the more I get to know him, the more I am understanding him, and I don't know, the things that stands out is when he has a bodywork session every 6 weeks, and I've never seen a horse respond to that like he does. Like, he completely just, so you can almost see him just go, oh, and it's so nice to see. And I would love to be able to do more kind of supporting work on the ground, like, and learn the groundwork patterns and everything. But I think what I'm struggling with is, and I know this shouldn't hold me back, is facilities. And I'm very much a novice at this. And I don't want to put myself in any danger by going out on the roads, like long lining or whatever, straight away. And I don't have a round pen, I don't have an arena, I've got a field, like, and it's the field where he's grazing in, and I don't want to work him in his like chill zone. So there's all these things. So I need to just make a decision. Do I go and do a camp? But obviously, then I've got a baby. So it's all these things that needs to kind of work out. And yeah, so any tips for a rookie?
Loads. I'm brimming with answers to all of your problems. Well, look, where there's a will, there's a way, right? And I really think that is an important, like, thing to remind yourself of, because if you are keen, then we can absolutely find a way to make that work. I coach people all over the world all of the time who don't have arenas, and it is completely manageable. You don't have to go long lining on the roads. You do not have to do that. If you have an area of any, like a car park, hard standing, even just some concrete outside the stables, you can start to teach him about postural reset. You can teach him about how to move his body in a softer way. You can learn how to do some body work with him, which isn't complicated. It's just about being aware of what it is he says he likes, what it is his body is telling you it needs, and then we go from there. I would love to help you, and if you can, do you have any kind of internet down at the stables? Like 4G?
I've got 4G.
Yeah,
I know.
fine. So,
no, I do. Well, do I? It's patchy.
Well, look, again, it's all a possibility. So I think, and this is a message to anybody out there who is like, I've got this horse and I do this thing, and the horse is sensitive. If you have an interest in engaging with your horse from the ground and learning a bit about their body, then you don't have to have an arena to do that. You can do that wherever you are. It may look different and it may feel a bit different, but it isn't going to be, it's not impossible by any stretch. And I think it's a lovely thing to hear, because, people with, ex-racehorses do come with a list of complicated elements because of the life that they had before you had them. In fast environments, they will get fast because that's literally what they were trained to do and bred to do. Their body is like, we go now, fast straight line, yeah, great, good, we're going, great. And it's like actually having that pendulation. You don't want him not to be that. You're never going to change that about him. It's like having a greyhound and never letting them run. That's not, they really are designed for that. But it's that, can you then help him more often drop into that parasympathetic side of his nervous system, that rest and digest that he evidently loves to feel when he has the body work? Can you help him find that more, so that then you go to an event, come off the lorry, let's help you find that peaceful place, Ember. Oh yeah, and he's then stood there like, oh yeah, I'm at an event. Not like, I'm at an event, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And a lot of people can benefit from that. So I'd love to guide you. I'd love to guide you and help you find your way with that, so that, well, you can show other people as well, that it's possible. Because it is, definitely.
Sign me up, baby. That sounds great.
Also, I just think, like, from a mum point of view, as someone who is not a parent but thinks about this a lot, I often think now, oh, thank goodness I have more tools in my box, like hand walking, groundwork, stuff that I can do that doesn't require me to be in the saddle, but still allows me to feel connection with my horse. Because actually, I often then think, oh, I could do this like with a baby in a pram, and I would feel safe about them being there, as opposed to like riding, which feels really not possible when you've got a baby with you, you know? So there's that as well.
We love tools.
Yeah.
An extensive toolkit.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Sorry, baby's just choking on my finger.
That's okay. She's amazing. She's really
so
very
good.
quiet, isn't she?
Maybe she likes the chatter.
Yeah, she is pretty chilled, to be honest. I don't want to be that person that's like, my baby sleeps so much, but she really does. Like, I don't have the touch wood, it might all change, but she does sleep pretty much through the night with one wake at 4 o'clock in the morning, and that's it. So, yeah,
Wow.
she's pretty.
That is
She is
impressive.
pretty good. So I don't actually have an excuse for being so tired or lazy, because she's as lazy as I am. So
Stop it.
Lucy, once again, back to the being unkind to yourself. But it's
Sorry,
interesting.
I am.
Have you always been quite self-deprecating, or is that something that has shifted since you had Etta?
I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I didn't ever really see myself as self-deprecating, but maybe you've made me aware that I am. So I need to just back myself a little bit more, don't I?
Well, it was interesting because at the start of this conversation, Lucy was like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about," and we said like we asked you to be here for a reason. Like, we really think you're great and you're doing an amazing thing, and I do think, yeah, it was interesting. I think, you know, if ever I hear somebody being like really unkind to themselves, I always I pull them up on it, because I'm like, oh, you're doing great, you're amazing, you know. So it's a funny one.
Yeah.
I think women supporting women is a big thing, right?
Definitely. And you need those people in your life. And actually, just a quick on that note, I had a lesson the other day with Justine, which didn't go terribly right, and that was all down to my mindset. Like, from the beginning, I was like, no, something's wrong. I got off the horse to trot him up because I was like, he doesn't feel right. Justine was like, he's fine. And I got like, and then something was wrong. I was like, my bit's wrong, and I just feel bad, and everything was not going right, and it was all in my mind basically, and that was the reason why it was going so badly. But she was like, it's fine, let's just revisit this later, we'll come back. And I did go back a couple of days later, and I was great. Flying, in fact. So
I actually was thinking about Justine before we had you on, because I feel like it's so not. I love watching other people who have consistent coaching with the same person, because I think it makes such a difference, and I can see the effect that she has, the impact that she has, not just on you but also on Jess, and obviously since Jess has moved to Norfolk, working with Justine. So like, what is it like working with her? Because she's also got her own amazing history of like riding and stuff and competing.
she is brilliant, and she's always been in my corner. And I think her knowledge, well, about horses eventing in general, but specifically racehorses. Because, I mean, I bought Ember from her because she had got him before. But she's. Oh dear.
So, Lucy, I have a question that I ask everybody at the end of every podcast, and that question is, if you had one thing that you could say to every equestrian and they kind of had to listen, like they had to do that thing, what would you say?
Oh my goodness. Would anyone want my advice?
Yes.
Once again.
Oh,
absolutely.
Sorry. Self-deprecating. I think this is possibly something that maybe Justine says to me all the time, which is, don't overthink it.
I love that.
I'm just gonna leave it there. Just leave it there. And I think that, yeah, that does very much reflect on the mum side of things. Like, you can get yourself in such a tiz thinking, how is this going to work? Don't overthink it.
I think I'd like to come and I think I need to come and stay with you, Lucy, for a while, because I am the absolute queen of overthinking absolutely everything. And it's actually incredibly, like, it's really reassuring actually to speak to you, because like, we've moved to this farm and I feel like there's kind of this I put this expectation on myself, like, well, now I've got a spare bedroom, so have a baby. And then I'm like, yeah, but now I've also got this lovely arena that I'd really like to ride in. So I don't want to like rush and do the wrong thing. And then how am I going to manage? Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it, honey. Just chill. It's fine.
Yep.
Don't overthink it, honey. Have a glass of wine and just get on with it. It's literally what it feels like you're saying. I love it so much. Oh, that was so great.
Oh, love it. Thank you so much, Lucy. And thanks to Etta, our silent guest. Because she's been wonderful.
Yeah, she's really enjoyed it, so...
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. We will share Lucy's handles in the show notes, and we will see you for next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye!
I'm going to take a moment to thank our sponsor of this episode, The Hoof School. Now, Rhi and I have been diligently doing our homework in between podcasts, and it's so cool because we're actually finding ourselves talking about the Hoof School content outside of the podcast because we are so fascinated by all of the learning that we're doing. So, Rhi, what is your barefoot Hoof School update this week?
So there's two things that have been on my mind this week. One of them is the thing that's held me back quite a lot from going barefoot is that I've read that it's not okay to just leave your horse between, like, for farrier appointments that can be 6-8 weeks apart. When your horse is barefoot, you actually need to catch things a little bit earlier. And the way that people often do that is that they learn to do a little bit of light kind of rasping or work on the hoof themselves to kind of in between, right? And that is terrifying to me because I'm like, oh my God, hooves they're so delicate, like I don't know what I'm doing, obviously, right? One part of the One Step Ahead, the maintenance trim course, is literally that. You learn all about the tools and you learn how to use them. And it's really in depth, and I think that I always find this really, really useful. I feel like I'm just getting knowledge, even if I never actually use it practically. It makes me feel better as I kind of make decisions about my horse's hooves. And the other thing is, as a result of kind of thinking about barefoot more and more lately, I was having a conversation with my physio the other day, and she said something that I'm hearing more and more, which I'd never heard before actually, which is that for her horses, some of the horses that she treats who have been previously quite spooky or a little bit more challenging, that they've just like changed when they've gone barefoot, and that they feel a lot more kind of grounded and calm and connected to the ground. And I just think that is really interesting because, as you all know, spookiness is something that Harley struggles with, and I just don't know, it's just got my brain ticking about what that could look like. So yeah, what about you, Miri? What have you learned this week?
So I think probably on a very similar sort of vein is like the way the horse lands on the ground is so important. And so I've been learning about the heel. And now I do, obviously, I know a fair amount about these things, but the horses needs to have comfortable heels. In order to have comfortable heels, we need to understand the digital cushion. And this is actually a little excerpt from the page that I've got up in front of me. But the way the Hoof School describes this, they literally have a diagram of a horse piaffing. And I was watching a video about how the heel, when it lands on the ground, the heel compresses and contracts relative to the way the horse is moving, and this is such an important structure for the whole body, and it just leads me to like be looking at the horses in my care and understanding their feet. And we have a horse that has recently been transitioned to barefoot, and it's very interesting because his hoof wall is actually very like compromised, but his heel wasn't compromised. It was like his heel would like refused to be changed by the shoe. And it just, that reading through all of the stuff with the Hoof School, like watching the videos, understanding the different shapes, you know, they have diagrams with small pictures of change, you know, that here's a picture and then here's a picture of it kind of drawn on. If you have an interest in your horse's hooves and you would like to learn more, then you can use the code TEL10 for 10% off the first 2 courses. So that is 10% off the Hoof Care Essentials and 10% off One Step Ahead, the maintenance trim. You can find all of the details in the show notes, and if you do go on your Hoof School journey, then please do let us know. We'd love to hear about it.